Hi friends, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. I'm Rita, and tonight I wanted to share with you how you can take 3 pieces of designer series paper and cut them in a certain fashion and make multiple cards. So if you have a few sheets left over, 6x6 sheets left over of designer series paper, and you'd like to make multiple cards with no waste, then this is the video for you. Now before we get started and I share that cutting process and the cards, I did just quickly want to remind you that I would appreciate it if you, all your thumbs up and your hearts, of course. And if you don't mind, consider in shouting out hello in the comment section. Now, I will say that once I'm crafting, that it is, I can't promise that I would be able to watch who's shouting out hello, but I do come back and answer any questions or comments that you may have. Also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new content. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, it's been a while since I did a live video. I did take a little break there, a much needed break, but I'm back. And so I did change the time of my live videos. So I'm going to try now to do my videos on Thursday, but instead of at 12 noon, I'm going to try to do them now at 8 o'clock. So, I hope that works. It's pretty hard for me to determine what would work for everybody, but it's probably impossible, right? All right, so let's get started. So one sheet wonders, the idea of a one sheet wonder, it's my understanding that it started a long time ago when crafters would take their handmade designer series paper or printed paper and want to use it to its fullest in card making. And so through the times, as it happens with anything, the more that our craft evolves, then the different options that are available to us. So this is only one option of a one sheet wonder. And I have to honestly say, I am not sure who first introduced this to me. I do think it was a video, but I just don't remember who. Anyway, I'm sharing it with you, and you can share it with your crafty friends as well. So this template is a 6x6 template, and we're going to use, I'm going to cut for you one sheet of this designer series paper. This is from the Countryside Inn designer series paper. But if you want, it's pretty important that you use 3 sheets of designer series paper, and you'll see why in a minute. But for video purposes, I'm only going to cut one. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I like to put my template at the side, and then I get out my trimmer. I am going to put the trimmer up here, so hopefully you'll see it. And we're going to be cutting our first piece. It's going to be 3 3/4 by 6. One thing I want to share with you before I cut this is if you have paper like this that is directional, decide which way you want it to face and make sure that the direction you want it to go in is facing the top of your trimmer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and place this on the 3 3/4 mark. So let's see, here we go. And then we're just going to make sure it's straight. And what I like about this trimmer is, you have these lines to make sure your paper is on the line, but you also have this ledge. And when it's flush with the ledge, then you're pretty certain that it's going to be straight, correct? And then you have 2 blades, and I just knocked this one off. You have 2 blades on this plastic guide. One is the scoring blade, and it's lighter. We're not going to be scoring right now, so we'll put it clear at the top. And the darker blade is our cutting blade, and I moved this paper, so let me get that lined up again. So it's better to measure twice and cut once. And then we're just going to use the darker blade and just cut up that piece of designer series paper. So normally, if you're following directions, you're going to have 3 of these pieces. And what's great about the designer series paper is these sides, they coordinate. So whichever side you choose to, well, we're going to use both sides anyway. So we'll talk about that later. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. And now if we look at the template, we still have some more cutting to do. So this piece that is left over, we now need to rotate it and cut it. And so I'm going to cut this at 3 1/4. So let's get that measurement here. It's nighttime. That's one of the reasons I like to do my videos in the daytime, because night vision is, I have to stay a little more focused here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut it at 3 1/4. We'll have this piece left over. We're going to put it to the side because obviously we're going to be cutting that. We'll rotate this piece back so that the top is facing upwards. And we're going to cut it. The first cut is going to be at 1 1/2. And this template, if you go to my website, it will be posted by Saturday afternoon. So you'll be able to view that and, you know, go from there. Also, the video will be there so you can follow that video. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut it. So this is going to become 1 1/2. Did I say that right? Yes, 1 1/2 by 3 1/4. Always have to double check those measurements. So here we go. And these are the pieces that we'll have. So again, if you were following directions, you would have 3 of these pieces and 3 of these pieces. And I like to put them right here on the template so I know what I've cut. So I can see that I still need to make some cuts. Now we're going to cut this in 1 1/8 by 3/4. And so we're going to go ahead and cut it. It would be in half, but that measurement is 1 1/8. So let me find that 1 1/8, and here it is. And we're going to go ahead and cut it. And now we have made all of our cuts that we wanted to on the that are sitting now on the template. And again, as a reminder, this should be 3 pieces of each cut. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these cuts that we made and we're going to turn them into cards. Now, like I told you, I had already made the cuts out of the paper that I wanted to use tonight because, you know, this Countryside Inn, I've already used most of it up. And so we're going to use this designer series paper, which I've already cut to the specifications. And this is from the In Color designer series paper. Again, it's double-sided. So we're going to go ahead and work on this. We'll take one piece at a time for now. And I'm going to reach over here and get some card bases. Now the card bases I'm using tonight are, this one is going to be top folding, and it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's simply, when you unfold it, it's simply a sheet of 11 or 8 1/2 by 11. So this would be the 8 1/2 side and then the 11, and then it's folded. And I am going to take my bone folder because I want to secure that fold here. Okay, and the very first thing we're going to do, and we're going to do that with all 3 pieces, is we're going to rip our paper. So just rip it kind of wherever you feel. I'm going to start right here, and you rip it towards you. And you're going to get this nice curvy, undefined kind of edge here. And it is going to show some of the kind of the rough edges. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to be using this designer series paper. we're going to use one end here and one end up here. Now I will, with most designer series paper, let me show you what I mean here. So here are some cards that I made using the Countryside Inn. So this designer series paper is completely interchangeable. If you look at the opposite side, so this is the same print. It isn't, I'm sorry. It's not the same print. If it were the same print, and I don't have one here, if it were the same print, I don't have one. Sorry, folks. Oh, maybe I do. Look here, I do have one. So this is the same paper as this one, and when you turn it around, you can see that it is not the same as this print here. So what I've done is I've interchanged the paper, and so you can do that. With this designer series paper, I wasn't quite comfortable doing that, so I didn't. Now, before we glue this down, you have the option of taking a layer, and you can go ahead and use, definitely do that, and I am going to do that, and that'll just kind of make it pop. So let's go ahead and do that. What I want to do, I'm going to put this to the side. What I want to do is I want to glue this piece first. You don't have to, but I want to, because it's yellow and you can barely, I mean, the print is soft, so I want this print to pop more, so I'm going to put this on top. So let's go ahead and glue that down. And I did get my glue bottles kind of mixed up here, so let's see. Oh, I picked the right one. What do you know? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue that on here, leaving a margin. And the good thing about the liquid glue is that you have time to manipulate it if you want to. All right, and so then this is going to fit on top, and you're going to see that they overlap, but you want that because you know that your card base is not 6 inches, right? So if you didn't tear that, you would have a longer card base than you, a longer piece of designer series paper than you do a card base. So you are going to have to overlap it, and if you didn't overlap it, you would have a gap. So just go ahead and overlap it. And you can decide at this point if you want to put ribbon on here. You could put ribbon on before we put it on the card base. I'm not going to put ribbon on this one, but I'll show you some examples where I did put ribbon. So let me just go ahead and secure that on there with the adhesive. And I love that. This is quite festive, isn't it? And then we're going to go ahead and place it on our card base. Now, I did want to tell you that, or remind you that our designer series paper is available in the catalog, and that it coordinates, all of it coordinates with each other, and so it's a good thing to have in your stash. All right, so there we have that layer, and then we need to decide what we want to do with this. And so I did, as I told you, I did go ahead and cut out some things that we can use for sentiments. I really do like this print, so I didn't want to use too big of a piece to put my sentiment on. So I am going to use, this is a 2.5 by 2.5 square, and I am going to just go ahead and stamp my greeting on here. And the stamp set that I'm using for those greetings is my favorite right now, is I'm using that Biggest Wish. And let me grab my Night of Navy, which is the ink that I'm going to be using or I can use Misty, excuse me, Misty Moonlight. I do like the Night of Navy just because it's a little bit darker. So let's just go ahead and use that. And I'm going to use the stamp that says hello. So let me just grab my acrylic block. And I want to make sure it's on there correctly. Okay, and our Night of Navy. And we're going to ink this up. While I'm inking this up, I also wanted to just share with you, those of you that made your purchases in July and you earned all those great $5 coupons, you can now redeem them in August and get $5 off your purchase, or however many coupons you're redeeming. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this. And we want to stamp before we stick, because if our stamp is not how we like it, we have that option to flip it over, right? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and clean off my stamp, because I did forget the other day and I didn't like the way it stamped. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now I don't want to just put it on here like this. I want some sort of decoration on here. And so what I thought I would do is just go ahead and use this Country Petal Punch. And I thought I would go ahead and just cut some flowers off out of it. And so I just stick this is Misty Moonlight. And I just go ahead and, I'll do 3 of them. Different sizes. But you could put anything you wanted on there. I'm just using the flowers. I just love that punch. That's another thing I just love lately. And so I'm just going to kind of put them like this. Now you could do, again, you could do anything you want. I didn't want to do anything round because we have a lot of round going there. But I am going to use my dimensionals to adhere that sentiment on there, and it'll give it some elevation. Another thing that you could put on here is, if you're going to do a birthday, you could put balloons on there. That would be kind of fun. This looks festive, so it reminds me of some sort of party. So you could decorate accordingly. And I'll show you some stick with me and I'll show you some samples of cards I made with different ways I decorated them. Okay, I think we got everything. Okay, and so I kind of want to put this. I'm going to leave a little more of the yellow showing than normal. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of cover. I'm going to kind of cover some of this beautiful ripping that we did. Okay, so there we go with that. And then I am going to go ahead and put my flowers on there. And I am going to use my good old glue dots. I love these things. So let's see. It's always a decision where you're going to put your first decoration, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it right there. And because we have the sentiment strip on dimensionals, we can use these glue dots and they'll still have, the flowers will still have some dimension. And I'm just putting them on randomly. You can do whatever you want. This will be your card, and so you can jazz it up as much as you want, or or not. It's up to you. All right, and so then, you know, if we wanted to decorate it with some white, what am I trying to say? Some white gems, and we could definitely do that. I do have some gems here I might want to use. Let's see. I am going to use these gems. They are not current, but I want to use them up. You could also use, these are the in color gems that you could also use if you wanted to. So you could definitely use that. There's some boho blue right here. That would go nicely on there. And maybe we'll use that instead of these others. We always have the right to change our mind, right? And so I would just put these right in the middle. They don't show up very good, which is what the gosh. That looks better. I'm going to take this one off. So the boho blue, the boho blue, it doesn't really, I don't like it on there just because I don't feel like it shows up very well. But you have some yellow in there, so you could definitely put yellow if you wanted to. I'm just choosing to use these older ones. You could also hole punch, use your hole punch and cut out some white. That would be perfect in there. And then you can stamp inside whatever you want it to be, a birthday or whatever. So let's do, why don't we do one more? Let's see, I have 3, right? I remember I told you to cut out 3. Let's go ahead and use this piece. And I have another card base. And it is also top folding. I am also going to use this, which is a reverse part of this that I cut out. No, it's a different one, but on each side you have different backs, right? The different print on the back. And so I'm using this, and then I have the same colors that are in this that were on this piece that I had left over. So I do want to go ahead and use this, and this is going to be that first layer that goes on our card. And this is the layer that we're going to rip. And so you will see, and this is something that you can think about when you're doing this. Once we rip it, if we turned it over, we're going to have the same, pretty much the same color that's there. So we'll just, I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to rip that, and we're going to put this aside, because now we have this that I had cut earlier. And let's just go ahead and rip this, and now we're going to have something a little bit different. All right, we could use it that way. If you want 2 different prints, you could definitely use it that way. But if you wanted something lighter, you could use it this way. And that's how I'm going to use mine. So let's go ahead and adhere this down. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating 3 cards out of those 3 pieces that we cut. And then this, I love this print. Love it, love it, love it. I like to use them when I'm down to just a few pieces of designer series paper, because I feel like I would get every little piece, right? Because in this, with this, these cutting measurements, you do get every piece. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to that. Now I am going to tell you that I had some, let's see, what did I do with it? I have some ribbon here, and it's a choice whether I want the white ribbon, or I do have some, this is purple, this is Gorgeous Grape. I also have some boho, not boho, gosh, I've got boho on the brain. I have some Moody Mauve, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use it this way, and I'm going to, let's see here. I'm not going to tie a knot, and I'll tell you why. Because this is thick ribbon, and that's going to be an awfully, that would be an awfully big, bulky, that would be big and bulky. So we're just going to use it as an accent, kind of like you might use a banner. And I'm going to use my tear and tape to secure it. So I'm just going to fold it over. Let's see here. And grab those scissors. I'm sorry. Can you see me? All right, let's see here. Okay. Let's clean up some room here. And I also see I was way out of line there, wasn't I? Let's see here. Okay, and we don't have to take the release paper off of the turn tape because we're not going to use that to stick it down to the base. So let's go ahead and I'll get some of this stuff out of my way. So we're going to find that bone folder to secure that fold. And then let's go ahead and put this on here. Looks like I might have gotten carried away with the glue. Imagine that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and then I thought about what would I want to do. So I did different things with the different cards. So here's you know, an option of one of the cards I already finished. Here's another big circle, and then I showed you the one before that I did. But what I thought I would do today is I'll go ahead and use this shape. I could use this shape that covers up most of our card, or we could use a circle, and that's Fresh Freesia. Let's see, I had a little white circle here too that we could stamp on. That's too big. Here we go. And then we could just put a smaller circle on top of that. So let's go ahead and stamp on here. Now, you know, I'm thinking about what do I want to stamp. I can make this a thank you card. So let's go ahead and stamp the word thanks on here. And I do like the script more so than that big bold font. But you know what? The nice thing is you can choose whatever you want here. So I should just put this, here we go. Okay, and I am going to use that, I'm going to use the Moody Mauve ink. And I think that the Moody Mauve has quickly become one of my favorites. I am a purple gal, as I said before, so makes sense, doesn't it? All right, so here we go. So this will be a thank you card. But again, you can put whatever sentiment you want on it. I just love these sentiments, and I seem to gravitate towards them. Well, there's some others that I like too and use a lot. But, you know, the big words are all the rage now. And I'm going to wipe this off because I made a mess there. Gosh, I guess I am rusty. So maybe the moral of this story is don't take breaks. Okay. Here we go. Now, one thing that I did do is when I was cutting up stuff, I did cut some of the little, like, you could definitely put that on here if you wanted to. But I was thinking that I might save it for this one. Although it doesn't really show up on this one, does it? But it would on the white. So we're going to save it. Let's go ahead and put this down. And the other thing I like to do is I like to use my dies. So I love to use the bling. So you know, bling is wonderful, right? But sometimes I like to use just paper things too. And so if I have the option, and I don't know that I did any here, did I? Yes. So if I have the option to use a die cut to cut some circles, I will definitely do that, and we're going to put those on the card as well. Now, keep in mind that once you start adding to your inventory, you have these options to, gosh, I can't get that out of here. To build up your inventory, and you have these options to choose from. So, I thought I took that out. Now, what in the world did I do with that? I thought I had 3. Okay, folks, I might be falling apart. Here it is. Okay. We're going to use the bling too. Spoiler alert. Here we go. So back to the dimensionals. Okay, it's so hot here in northern Nevada. Oh my gosh. It said this morning when I took my dog for a walk, it said it was only 79, but you know what? I think that's wrong. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put that. I'm going to put it right here. And I am going to take, and I'm going to put these dots up at the top. I like to do that sometimes too. So I'm going to get my reverse tweezers. It's easier to manipulate those little circles with your reverse tweezers. Now, the reverse tweezers that I have in my online store don't look like this because this is very old. But the ones that we have in the catalog work really well. And they come in a kit, like an embossing kit. So it has a tray and a little brush and an embossing buddy. But, you know, I think that reversible tweezers are a must in a craft room. Oh my gosh. That didn't want to stick. All right. This may be what happens at 8 o'clock, guys. I don't know. All right, so here we go. Final one. And then we're going to take that bling, that beautiful bling. This is the in color. Let's see, what is it called? It is called 2023-2024 in color dots. So they're perfect though. So we're just going to put those all over. And I think you probably have heard me say before, I like to use odd numbers. I don't know that that's necessarily a rule or anything, but supposedly it's more appealing to the eye. And so we have 4. Let's go ahead and put 5. And where do we want this? How about right there? Okay, there we go with that. And then we have our card. And then you can do the inside, stamp whatever image or whatever sentiment you want. And you'd be good with that. All right, so that's card number 2. We do have this. And then when I get to those little pieces, I don't think we're going to make every card tonight. We would probably be here a little bit longer. So let's just go ahead and finish this card. And then we'll do some of those others. So let's see here, another card base. Now you can make your card so that it opens this way if you wanted to. So you certainly could do that, and that would look nice. So I am going to put this on some fresh freesia, and let's go ahead and turn our card. So fresh freesia, and I'm going to do the bottom this way. Okay, so I'm still going to put it on that way so I don't get confused. We certainly wouldn't want to confuse Rita, would we? Okay, so let's see here. I just love this designer series paper. And I did want to tell you that there are a lot of events that are coming up, and I was preparing them for today, which may be one of the reasons I'm a little scatterbrained tonight, but September is going to be all things Christmas, so you know, I'm just kind of forewarning you about that. But I think it'll be great fun. All right, so I am going to have this opening this way. So I'm thinking, do I want this side to be the one with the variegated or the different colors? Or do I want the print to be on the edge? And I'm thinking about it. And I think I'm okay with it being this way. So let's go ahead and put it down. I'm also wondering if I wanted to use some of that white ribbon that I had here. That Lord knows what I did with it. Because I think it would show up here if we put it here, wouldn't it? I don't know. I think I'm going to put it down here. Okay, and I am going to tie a bow with this one. So let's go ahead and secure this. And you can use a glue dot if you want to secure it down. I just do like the tear and tape. You could use your stamp and seal, or yeah, you could use your seal if you wanted to as well. So here we go. Anyway, the mini catalog will be live in September, and I just wanted to forewarn you that there is, I think that Stampin' Up! Was listening to me because there is some gorgeous, gorgeous product in there. I I can't show you the catalog right now, but I will tell you that I'm sure you will not be disappointed. And so I have one of two options. I can just put this through here and tie a knot, which is what I'm going to do, or I could tie the bow and then just stick it on top. And we'll see, I can change my mind, remember? Okay, so let's go ahead and tie this bow. I usually don't like to tie bows. You gotta know that when you're doing something live, that anything and everything that could happen may happen. And there's no editing. So, let's see here. This ribbon is so tiny that it's, ta-da! Okay, I like to pull it tight and then just, I don't need those bigger loops there. Let's see. So much for tight, I didn't pull it very tight. Okay, that looks good to me. And then I'm just going to trim this ribbon. Okay. Now I feel really good because we just used up some ribbon. All right. And I'm going to move. Guess what? We're going to turn it this way because I don't want my ribbon going upside down. So you could also put this on dimensionals if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I do donate a lot of my cards to a couple of senior citizen homes. So I don't know, I want to leave this as an option to donate to them. I am, right now, I am belonging to a group and we have a challenge to send out a certain number of cards, so I don't know. All right, so there's that. Let's look and see what I want to use for a sentiment. And, let's see. I did like those octagon shapes that I had. So there's definitely that. Now, I got this idea from the paper pumpkin. So they had some octagon shapes that they sent with the paper pumpkin. And it was so nice. It really was nice. So I'm thinking, this is way too big though, isn't it? And that takes up too much of the room. So we are going to stick with the 2x2 square and we're going to use it as a diamond shape. And I'm thinking what sentiment I want to use. So I have some I'm going back to this. I have some different stamp sets here that we could use different sentiments. But you know what? Why change when we got a good thing going, right? That's my philosophy. Okay. Let's see here. Let me know what designer series paper is your favorite right now, and just put it in the comment section. And also I wanted to just share, you know, if you wanted to be in the know and wanted to participate in some fun things that we do, please feel free to go to ritaspapermotif.com, and there you can sign up for the newsletter. And then I do send out, on occasion, I send out free templates, some other things that will be going on, especially now that we're getting ready for all things Christmas. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on some dimensionals. And except for I have to find them. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. Let's see here. Not to fear, I have plenty. Anyway, feel free to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. You would do that by going to Rita's Paper Motif, and there on the home page, you would find the opportunity to sign up. Now, anyone can sign up if you just want to know what's going on in my studio. You can definitely sign up. While you're at Rita's Paper Motif, you can keep abreast of all the events that will be happening. If you just click event, that is at the top of the website, then you would be able to see what's going on. And so I did cut out some flowers. I really like these flowers. I'm going to put them a little more together this time. So I think I'll arrange them like that. And I'm going to use some dimensionals as well as glue dots. Okay, let's see here. And I used, to get these flowers, I used the Country Petal punch. It's this gorgeous punch right here. Let's see, I'll close it so it doesn't. It's this gorgeous punch right here. And it just does 3 different sizes of flowers. It does the little leaf. But sometimes I don't use the leaf. I just want something that's going to bring out the colors in my card. And I guess I don't even need to do it with that. I can just stick the flower on that glue dot. Okay, and then we're going to pop that bigger flower up on a dimensional. Just like that. Okay, and then do we want to put some bling? Of course, why not? So this might be a good time to use some of those Moody Mauve dots. They'll definitely show up. And I have one of those glue dots on here. What in the world? Okay. All right, I think that's good enough. And you, on the inside, I would put something like "You're amazing." So I would definitely put that on there. And then, you know, we cut out some sizes here that were kind of odd. And of course, they're a little mixed up. But you can use these also to decorate in here if you wanted to. I'll show you another way to use them up. All right, so with those big sheets that were the 3 3/4 by 6, we have created these 3 cards. Whoosh, I have a mess here. All right, we created these 3 cards on the designer series paper that you use. Now let's go ahead and use up some of those smaller parts. I'm going to just show you a couple using these are the pieces, and you'll only have 3. These are the pieces that measure the 1.5 by 3 1/4. And so what I want to do is I want to use I'm going to use a side folding card base right here. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to also use a layer of white. So this is going to be kind of, it's going to have some dimension to it. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use some texture, because I ran this layer through my, with an embossing folder. I ran it through my cut and emboss machine. And so I hope that you can see the texture here. And we're going to use that. And then we're also going to use these 3 pieces. Now I want to use them just like this on the card. And, you know, if I do just like that, they don't really pop. And it feels to me like they kind of get lost on that white. So I like to layer them anyway. So what I did is I took some black, basic black, and we're going to layer these on there. And then, do you see the difference? They pop right away, don't they? And the reason I chose black was because, where did that paper go? Right here. Because these colors don't, they're kind of, I want to say that to me, I don't know how to explain what I want to say, except for that they're kind of soft. And if I used a pinkish, whether it's the Bubble Bath or even Moody Mauve, it doesn't seem to go with all 3 colors. So, you know, that's why I chose black. Black, to me, is always a safe choice when you're layering pieces. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and glue them all together. And you have that nice little border. And you know that when you're creating borders, I just wanted to say how I figure my borders is I take the piece, the measurement of the pieces that I have that I want to layer on top, and I just increase the measurement by 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And that will give me, I increase it by 1/4 of an inch, and that will give me a margin all the way around. And I'm choosing this different sides here. And of course, these are all 3 of the pieces that we cut. So out of that one, out of those 3 pieces, out of that one measurement, you get 1 card. But we got 3 cards with the previous. And I'm just turning it this way so that I can get a good feel for where I want these to go, and still have somewhat of a border. Now, sometimes when I cut these layers, I have to go back and cut a little off so that they fit. But this one is barely going to work. And I want this in the middle. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sometimes I'll put the edge ones down and then put the middle one. And I think that's what I'm going to do now, because I want to make sure that they're that they fit there. All right, so I'm going to have to bring this closer because this is tricky, and I need the dark part of my workspace here so that I can layer them. Also, I wanted to tell you that the kits are on sale this month. We have a lot going on this month. those kits are up to 30% off. So, you know, now is a good time to stock up at 30%. That's a steal. And also, you know what? They make nice Christmas gifts. So if you have some crafty friends, you know, they make a nice gift. The nice thing about the kits is they're all inclusive. And when you're through creating, you don't have anything to store. So if you're short on space, that is, plus everything's in them. The envelopes, if they're kits where there's stamping involved, the stamps are in them. The little ink spot will be in them if that's what they are. But there's so many choices, and that right now there is a very, very cute birthday kit that is, I mean, who doesn't need birthday cards, right? And those stamp sets, once you get them, you can use them over and over and over. It's not like they are, something that maybe you want to toss. Even with my paper pumpkin, I love to use those stamps over and over. So it's a really good deal. And all this, there are some kits that there is no stamping involved. But I encourage you to go to Rita's Paper Motif and go to the catalog. It's right there on the home page, and take a good look at those kits, and I think you would be happy with some of those. They're just a good thing. All right, so let me get this measured or laid down evenly. And I did use, I didn't cut this first. I did use the dimensionals, and I do need to cut this because I remember now that a lot of times when I run my layers through the cut and emboss machine, which is the side. When I run them through the cut and emboss machine, I run them through, I just will grab a layer and run it through, and then I have to trim them down. All right, so now we have that card ready to go. And because there's so much color, this is one of those that I feel I could get away with just putting the circle on here. And so what would I want to put on my circle? Well, you can put anything. I think since we're going to be switching things up, let's go ahead and put the sentiment happy on there. So let me see, and you can put birthday on the inside. And now these next little parts that we've cut up, I'm just going to show you some different options that I did with that. And let's see here. Have it upside down. That doesn't work too good, does it? Upside down. Okay, and we're going to pop that up with dimensionals too. Let's go ahead and put some more bling on there. And now we can really use, well, actually we could use any of these on here. We have the pink too, so we could change it up and put some, I say pink, it's bubble bath. Let's use these instead. I like these better. We're just going to use them up. I'm going to put a couple here. And dimensionals. All right, let's see here. The nice thing about the bling is that you can use it over and over whenever it matches the color. So that's another thing. We got quite a few of the little Oneida Navy adhesive dots that came in the paper pumpkin. And so you could just use them over and over. The other thing here that I can do is I could take a, you know, there's some pink in here and some blue. If you had some blue ribbon, you could just tie it behind the circle if you wanted to. Or, you know what, I like that just that way. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to take some, shoot. I'm going to take some paper. I'm going to take one of these that I have here, and I'm going to cut a little banner and put on here. And we know that we can cut a flat, fishtail right here. We cut up the middle and then go from side to the middle. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it right there. That's what I'm going to do with that. Okay. And we want to get it straight. Okay, so we do have a lot of dimension on this card. And then we have these other pieces left. I did want to show you with those. I'm not going to do them all, but I did want to show you with 3 of the 1 1/8 by the 2 3/4. That's these right here. I wanted to show you what I did with those. So I'm going to move this, and then I'll show you some of the samples of everything that I have. And let's see, here we go. Card base. And I'm going to use another one of these. So what happens with these is I'm going to lay them across here, and then I'm going to put a big sentiment strip right in here. The thing though with that is that obviously they're not very long. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half to make it work for us. And you'll see what I mean. So let's just go ahead. Actually, I can show you on one of my samples here. So that's these pieces right here. So what I did is I cut them in the middle, and then I layered my octagon shape, and I'm gonna cut that down so I can use it. And I layered that here, but you see that it wouldn't fit, so we have to cut it in half, and no one will ever know that we cut it. And it doesn't have to be exactly in half, because that octagon shape is gonna cover a lot of it. So I'm just gonna cut it. I'm trying to cut kind of in half, and we'll just go with that like that. And then I'm going to get that octagon shape that I had before. And this is way too big. So, well, this one isn't too big. When did I cut this one? All right. We're going to use some layering here because yeah, I'm thinking that I can do that. So see, that'll work. I am going to cut this down a little though, so just bear with me. I just think it's a little too big. And I did cut these. We have some great dies that you can, in our catalog. But I did also just wanted to do it this way. Let's see here. And then to just create that octagon shape, then I'm just going to cut off just like that. So it gives it a nice shape. All right. Oh, I like that better. All right, and here we go. I need that octagon shape so I can see where I need to put my layers here, and my strips. So we'll start out with this one. You can see that they're not even straight. I didn't cut them straight, but that's okay because you're not even going to see that. So let's see here. Okay, and then this one. I would caution you though, because when we cut them in half and they're not quite straight, you do want the straight side to be showing. So I'm trying to make sure that they line up. And then let's see, one more down here. Okay, and then when you have them like secured down, and the other side is not as well. I'm not trusting myself tonight. I've been a little off, I think. All right, so let's see here. Okay, we're almost done, folks. Thank you for sharing your time with me tonight. Okay, one more. Wow, that was kind of hard for me to tell which side is the really straight side. We have to do some card surgery here. I was not paying attention. Okay. How many of you caught that? Okay. Then we're going to put this on dimensionals, but I wanted to show you how I wanted to decorate it. So I did, like I told you, I did cut out some of these sprigs. These are from the Splendid Day dies, and I definitely want to use them. And then we're going to put a ribbon. I am going to use that gorgeous grape ribbon to tie around them. Also in the paper pumpkin, they did have some little bases. So if you had the paper, if you got the paper pumpkin and you wanted to do this, this would be a good way to use up those bases. And I'm looking here to see that base. Oh, look, I did, I think. Yeah, so here's that base, and then we can stamp on it. And we could also, these sprigs could be, so I used this paper. So you could do the different colors if you wanted to. I'm not going to, I'm going to use the pink. So let's just go ahead and put some glue on that. And I do have to bring it closer to me, but I think you get how you would put glue on the back of this. So let me just and I do have some really fine glue that I sometimes use too. But not tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this on there. Okay. And again, we have one more we're putting glue on. Whoop. One thing I will say about using the glue out of the glue bottle is that you do want to be careful, because for this to glue these tiny things, because you can get you can have a lot of glue on there and then it gets kind of messy. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and I have glue on my fingers, which is what's happening here. All right, so where is that little base that I just had? Right here. And I'll show you that stamp set from the paper pumpkin. So I keep all of those stamp sets that we get from the paper pumpkin. And I hope I'm not telling you a story. I do have it right here. Let's see. Well, I guess I am telling you a story. So we can stamp anything we want on here on this base. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just stamp some, what do I want to stamp? Well, we don't have to stamp anything. You know what we'll do? We'll get the blending brushes. And we'll do a little bit of the Moody Mauve. And I have a piece of paper here that I can make sure I don't have any ink on that brush. And I'm going to use some let's see, any kind of paper. I'll just use another one of these. So we'll just do our blending brush and we'll just blend some color on here. And you can put as much as you want if you choose to do this. or you can cut it out of the colored cardstock, whatever works for you. If you don't have a die that cuts out vases though, then this would be the option if you have these. Now, you could also do a small circle, which is what I usually do. Yeah, a small circle and just cut off the portion. Like, where's that circle I was just... So if this were smaller, you could just take one side and cut it like that. And, you know, you would have something that would be kind of like a vase. You could kind of, you know, cut that off to make it flat too. This would be too big, obviously, but you can definitely do that on a smaller basis. So kind of the limit is your imagination. And so we're going to just go ahead and put that on here. So we've used all the pieces that we cut up in a card, except for these pieces right here. And I did cut one off. So you could definitely use them inside your card if you wanted to. The thing of it is I like for that, for my card to have something that spans the whole card thing, right? The whole length of the card, and those will not. You could piece them together if you wanted to make it look different. Like you could do something like that if you wanted to. You could take and cut your Misty Moonlight and put that in here as well. And these a good way to use up these strips. So definitely can do that. Now let's put some dimensionals on here. Let's see. I just switched out for some smaller dimensionals. Oh my gosh, I think I am falling apart. Well, we're going to use them. We have to use more because, you know, they're the same dimension. They're just smaller is all. Okay, then we're going to take off the wax papers. And I am going to have to, clean off my fingers. That's a issue right now. And when you do get some of the adhesive on your hands like that, and it is, you know, just interfering with your crafting, then some hand sanitizer will take care of the problem. Well, you could always run to the sink too, but okay. So now we have used those up, and I'm going to show you some examples so you can see how it looks with different. Okay. Okay, let's bring, so these are the pieces I haven't shown you how to use yet. I did show you how to use them. I just didn't use all of them. So these pieces right here would be another card like this. yeah, that's how that would be. You could also make a card. I just might as well do it. Let's see here. We can also make a card like this. You could do something like that. Something like this. If you wanted to. You could definitely do something like that. You can put them on there however you want. I'll show you how I used them. So that wasn't how I originally did them. Let's bring out all those cards and the samples that I wanted to show you. So we made this card. This is a top folding card. We made this card tonight. Also a top folding card with the different pieces. We made, these are the cards we made by tearing our paper. So if you used all of the papers, you should be able to get, there's 5 here, you should be able to get 7 cards. Okay, and I'll show you the samples of the cards that I made previously with a different DSP. Okay, so this is what we made tonight. This is with the Countryside Inn DSP. I guess I should move these so you can actually see them. So this is the one I ripped, and I did put that white ribbon there. And on the inside, I used a little bloom stamp that was from the stamp set with the paper pumpkin. You can use anything. So even though I'm showing you this, you can use anything. And then I used the blue adhesive dots that came with the paper pumpkin. Again, you can use anything because this is going to be your card when you make it. I'm just showing you how to cut that paper to get more cards. This is that base, and this is how that punch with the paper pumpkin, this is how it punches, or how it does the ink, how it stamps the ink. So you have like that little white decorative part of the vase or the pot. It gives it kind of a Tuscan feel, I believe. And then this is another card that I did with tearing the paper. And then I used the smaller part of the country petal to get these flowers. And you can see on the inside I used those Splendid stems, I think it's called, die set to get the little leaves. Yeah, it's called Splendid Stems, and that's how I made that. This is the same friend stamp from that Biggest Wish that we've been using all night. All that I did is I stamped it on white, and then I cut out around it to give it like a shadow, and then I put it on some Night of Navy to give it another shadow. So that's what I did with that. And then here is the other card that I did with the tearing with the Countryside. So if you got my newsletter, you saw these. And then what I did was I did a big circle. This is Night and Navy. These are the same size of circle, but you can see I cut it off. So I kind of set the circle so it went off the card a little bit, and then I just cut the excess. So it does give you that blue to break up a lot of this white and add some interest. And then I used, these are actually circles cut out of Night and Navy. And then you can see some of the boho blue dots and then the Night and Navy dots as well. This little bow when I got these dies originally, they were an alphabet die. When I got them originally, I just cut out a whole bunch of, I used the dies to cut out a whole bunch of ribbons. So this is a leftover, and it is out of a Night of Navy. So that's how this was made. And so here's some more with that tearing. This is using the Dandy Design Designer Series paper. Again, you can, I would put a banner here to finish it off. I didn't yet, but you could. And I did 2 of those. This one is not finished, so I won't show you. But here's another one of those top folding cards. This is using the Dandy's design as well. And you can see those Country Petal Punch flowers, punched flowers. And I layered them white on the Cajun Craze. And so then you can just see how that fits together. And then these were the little fiery gems that were that I used. So there's that. Here's some more using that country side in. This is the octagon shape that did come in the paper pumpkin. And then here's a vase that also came in the paper pumpkin, so I just used it up. Here's some more of those petals that I die cut from the Splendid Stems. And then I just used some pearls. Now, in hindsight, sometimes we can say, I wouldn't have used these big pearls, but I did have them in my stash, and I did want to use them up. So smaller pearls, and we also have some white dots that would be perfect, would be better. And so that is using those strips like the ones we just did that we cut up. These were the 1 1/8 that we cut. And so you know what's going on behind, right? All right. And then here is that measurement that we did. That was the 1 1/2 by the 3 1/4. And then I just layered them on some Night and Navy. And then it is a top folding. So I just layered them this way and did those blue, looks like one. Oh no, I put Friend right here. But I put 5 other of those blue adhesive dots that came in the paper pumpkin. Now this Friend stamp was from the paper pumpkin, but it is so small that I kind of feel like it gets lost. But you know what? That's part of crafting. We learn what works or what is appeasing to our eye. So this one is going to go to my aunt because she loves everything I make. But I just don't feel that sentiment is really, it's so small that I don't even think it was worth my stamping. And then this is how I decorated the inside. So this is supposed to be a get well card. So maybe it won't go to my aunt. She's not sick. Let's not push the envelope there. All right, so just some options. Let's see if there are any more that, there aren't any more that I have to show you. But I wanted to show you this One Sheet Wonder. And I also want to just encourage you to give it a try. I know I was a little off tonight. That's what happens when you take a break. Sometimes you get out of your rhythm there. So I just want to encourage you to go ahead and use this One Sheet Wonder. And you can make your multiple cards. The sentiments are always something that you can change up, and how you decorate them, you always change up. I think as paper crafters, we all have certain tastes that we like or that we incorporate in our cards. And so it does change for each crafter, I believe. All right, so again, here is the measurements, the template. Go to ritaspapermotif.com by Saturday noon. That template will be posted there. And actually what I wanted to do was download it so you could print it if you wanted to. But for sure it will be listed there so that you can take advantage of it. All right, so thank you so very much for sharing your time with me tonight. I feel like a brand new crafter doing a live video tonight. So I think that I will try to make sure I don't take too many more time off here. But again, anything that you want to look at, you can find at ritaspapermotif.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for joining me. You all have a great week. Bye now.